Look how close I am. Sit over there. That's my seat, man. I'm not giving up mine.
I thought this was my show.
It can be. It can be. You want my cards?
No.
Here
Oh,
we go.
you got it.
Thank you guys, man. What an honor.
Thank you.
Look how close I am. Somebody take a picture. I'm going to post this. All right, so here's my question to you. We'll start this way. You guys both go into the Hall of Fame tonight together. And you spent your entire careers together, it seems like. What does it mean to go in together? But what does it feel like to go to Daytona in a couple of weeks and not go to Daytona together? Because that's the thing. And I know you've been there before, but give me that juxtaposition of those two things.
Yeah, just thinking about that, the first time we go to Daytona, we sit on the pole and do that together. And I'm not sure how it's going to turn out for us this February in qualifying, but that was a special moment back then. And it's just crazy that we've been on this journey, we've accomplished all this together, and then we get to go to the Hall together. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really it's amazing. We've accomplished so much together. Yeah, we really have. You know, we grew up together. You know, I was a little bit older than Jimmie, but him coming into the sport young, and
You still are.
certainly, thank goodness. I'm glad that clock hasn't stopped ticking yet. But it's really pretty phenomenal, and to see him and be here to be able to celebrate it with him, because obviously a man that I truly love as a brother, and his family, I love them as well. So pretty awesome. We've competed against each other a couple of times, you know, but it's Daytona will be interesting for sure.
All right, I think we've got a couple other guys that we're going to bring out from somewhere.
On this side.
Are they on this side? You already know they're there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that supposed to be a surprise?
Yeah, well, I think this part was.
Oh, that part is for sure.
Wow.
Class of 19 Hall of Fame,
wow.
Jeff Gordon, and 17
That
inductee Rick
is-
Hendrick. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, isn't that special?
Oh man.
Milk and cookies.
Who's going to tell the story?
Yeah.
Well-
I don't understand. You got to explain the story to me, because I thought when you won championships and like you guys, it was like champagne and caviar. I didn't know it was like milk and cookies. So somebody explain the milk and cookies.
Well, we were kind of feuding, and they weren't sure they wanted to stay together. And so, but
Wait a minute. Let me interrupt. Because they just said they were brothers, and they did everything together, and they love each other.
Brothers fight.
And they
Brothers
love
fight.
each other.
Family fights.
Okay.
if you see
is winter
brothers,
of 05.
sometimes brothers don't get along. But
All right.
no, so we were trying to decide if we were going to separate them, and it was really a shame because the success was there, and I didn't think that was a good plan. So I said, you know, we can separate you, but you don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, I called them up to my office, and I had a gallon of milk, and I had those Mickey Mouse plates with cookies, and I said, guys, you know, it's really a shame that you are so successful we can't get along, but if you want to act like children, then why don't we have some milk and cookies, and we'll sit on the floor and have time out. And they started laughing, and I said, you know, it's a shame. I walked out. They
Ate the
they
cookies.
worked it out.
Oh, he insisted. I mean, it was amazing to watch it shift, because when we walked into the meeting, we didn't make eye contact. He and I didn't say hello to one another. And it just fed Rick's point that, you know, if you're going to act like kids, I'm going to treat you like kids.
Yeah.
And just for the record, it wasn't a gentle set down of the gallon of milk. It was like, we're going to eat some milk and cookies.
And then we didn't eat them, and he's like, no, you're eating the cookies. So we had to go through the
But if
drill.
I had to guess, you guys probably went and won the next race.
That was the winner of 05.
We did win the next race because I was suspended. True story.
The first Daytona
I
500
saw
win.
Ron Malik. Isn't that not true? I was, yeah. Yeah.
So you really were that close to separating.
We were, and I think with the thing that we hashed out.
Damn.
That's what I was saying.
And I think the reason was we were so frustrated. championship, and we weren't able to close the deal. And it was more frustration about not having the success as opposed to having emotions towards one another. And we just had to get that squared away and understand that. And that was a crucial time for us.
All right, Rick, I'm going to start with you because he's the first one in the Hall of Fame of this group here, so I'm going to start with him. Tell me your story about meeting Jimmie for the first time.
Well, Jimmie and my son Ricky were buddies, and I think I saw him around in the track, and went to St. Louis for a race, and Ricky's car fell out the first 10 laps, and we were getting ready to leave, and Ricky said, "Hey, we can't leave. You know, you told me Jimmie could ride home with us." I said, "Well, it's going to be 3 or 4 hours before we can go home." He said, well, you told him he could ride. Can we get him some food?" So I said, "Well, sure, we'll go get him some food." So he gets on the plane in his T-shirt, and he said, "Golly, thank you for waiting." I said, "You're welcome," you know. But coming home that night, we talked and was impressed, and I guess then we went to Darlington. Jeff was helping Ricky with his car, and we looked at the speed chart, and Jimmie was fastest. Jeff goes over and asks him, "Hey, can you talk to us about this?" And Jimmie said, "It's the first time I've ever seen the place." So he was pretty impressive from the very beginning.
I guess if you don't know what you don't know, you just go fast. Is that it?
I think running Salem in the ASA car had me ready to run the wall, so I kind of fell into a rhythm pretty quickly. But I have to say, when I got out of the race car in St. Louis and Ricky was standing there in the pits, I thought my ride was long gone. And I'm like, what is going on here? And they're waiting for me.
Yeah. And this room, more than any other room, knows that the most cherished thing at a racetrack is the trophy, and the second most cherished thing is a ride on an airplane home. That's the way it is, man. It's a massive
Let me
race.
just add this. Rick loves to wait so that he can hold it against you for years to come.
All right, so that's how you end up with Jimmie. How do you end up with Chad? Where does he
I
come
really
from?
don't know. You know?
We're still trying to figure it out.
No, I was really impressed. Ray told me the story that this guy showed up at the shop one day sitting in his car when Ray got there and said he wanted a job. And Ray said, "What can you do?" And he said, "Well, I can be a fabricator. I can do this." And Ray said, "We already got a fabricator. We don't need that." And so, "What do you really want to do?" And Chad said, "I want your job." And so Ray said, "Okay, I'm going to hire you." And then he did everything that he, could do, learned a lot, and then had to go off on his own, and then to be a crew chief before we had a slot. And then when it was time to bring Jimmie along, and Ken Knaus said, "Chad's the guy," and everybody voted for Chad to come back, and then it was magic, putting the two together.
So they had to vote to get you back.
I'm glad I didn't get voted off the island.
That's what I'm saying. So, and Rick and I talked a couple weeks ago, and he told me that story, and he told me what he admired was your tenacity, of just that's it. You had come out of Illinois, right?
Yes, Illinois.
Rockford.
Yes, sir. Rockford, Illinois.
Yeah. Did you run Speedway?
Sorry?
Rockford Speedway.
Oh yeah, baby.
The Deary family.
Hardcore up there.
Yeah, I love the Deary family. Quick Kyle Petty story. I went there to run a Art-Go race. Yeah, and Jim Salter's car. And they let me come in a day early to practice. And I got in a car, and I'd never been in one of these cars before because I had never driven anything cup cars. Jammed this baby in reverse and backed all over the pace car behind me. Mr. Deary had pulled in behind me. Just wiped out the pace car right off the bat. But here's my question. You work with your dad.
Yeah.
Y'all build cars.
Yeah.
You win races. You win championships. You come down here and you say, "I want your job."
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? I mean, to come from Rockford, and I guess to come from that type of racing, and to roll into Hendrick Motorsports, and to say, this is me. This is me all over it.
Probably a lot of ignorance, honestly, but it's what I had wanted to do. I learned early on that I wasn't a very good driver. I tried that a couple times. That didn't pan out well. So I started working on them really, really ferociously. And Jimmie's laughing now with some of my experiences behind the wheel. But I really enjoyed working on race cars. I really enjoyed making a car go faster and having a better product and having something that when the driver got in there, he had a distinct advantage and he could go do his craft. And I was able to do that with my dad and other people in the Midwest, and I just loved it. I really loved it. And when I got down south, I was able to work with groups and pods of people like Ray Evernham, who he thought the same way. The folks that I worked with when I was in Chelsea, Alabama, they thought the same way. Hey, how can we take advantage of the situation? How can we get a loophole in the rule? How can we create a new rule? You know, whatever it may be to try to get a leg up on everybody else. I love that, and I knew that's what I wanted to do.
And that's what you did. And you mentioned Ray, you mentioned a couple of guys that you worked with, but at the same time, you were able to find people to work with you that you saw that same trade in. And that's the leadership side of Chad Knaus. And I think that's your greatest quality. From the outside looking in and watching what you guys did at a racetrack. Yeah.
You know, I have a question for Chad. If he figured out he wasn't a very good race car driver, why did you try to tell Jimmie how to drive the car?
I was wondering how long it was going to take an outside.
Jeez.
Oh, my goodness.
Help me out, Jimmie.
I'll never forget flying home one time, and you pulled me aside and you said, you know when he tells you you're 2/10 off, he's lying to you. You're just fine. And so you were keying me up with all these things that he was saying to do and that were very helpful.
I always looked at it as constructive criticism, encouragement. Let's put it that way. Fair enough?
I was enjoying the part where Kyle was talking about all these people that worked for you. What about all the ones he went through to get to that?
That's my point. But that's my point, because you go through people when you're in that position. You go through people.
We do.
To find the people that fit what you're looking for. Okay. But you have to know what you're looking for. My granddad used to have a saying: if you don't know where you're going, you're still lost when you get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you knew where you were going. You know, and I guess, how did you define that quality? Where does that? I mean, that's fascinating to me.
It was really tough at the beginning because I didn't have, I wasn't mature enough to know how to do it properly, and maybe probably we had some turnover that maybe we didn't necessarily need to have because we didn't have enough empathy or compassion to understand the situation that a person was in at the time. We were just looking for that fit, like you're talking about. But then as I grew with time with Jimmie, time with Mr. Hendrick, time with Gordon, they taught me about how to understand what people are going through more. And then that's when it really started to get magical. There's so many guys and gals that we've been able to raise up through Hendrick Motorsports because we found the fit for good people. And if you're a good person and you've got the desire to want to be something special, we've got the stuff to make it happen.
Yeah. All right, Jimmie. When Rick hired the guy on the end over there, he kind of broke the mold because this guy come from midgets and sprint cars and all that stuff, and everybody had come from stock car racing. But he threw the mold away when he went motorcycles and off-road trucks to find you. So my question is, as you got here and you got into stock car racing, was that an advantage in some way? Because I grew up worshiping Richard Petty and Donnie Allison and guys like that and trying to emulate them. It's just like we spoke of Darlington. You didn't know what you didn't know. You just went and did it. Was that an advantage in some way?
It was an advantage, but it took me a while to really understand it and apply it. The off-road world is just so different than the asphalt stock car world. Car setup, vehicle dynamics, all the stuff that you work on were just polar opposites. So it took me a while, but once I understood the stock car, I think that I was known for driving a loose race car, and in those off-road trucks on the dirt, you were always sideways. And I think once I was at Hendrick, once I had a few years under my belt at the Cup level, I was able to tap into that upbringing of racing on the dirt.
Yeah. So you're saying those antiquated cars that y'all kicked our butt with was just like off-road trucks? Is that what you're telling me?
Sort of. I mean, that's why I love Dover so much,
Yeah.
because you jump into the corner, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
if anybody's driven Dover, you basically launch into the turn, and
Yeah.
that was an off-road truck.
All right, so Jeff, you're already there, and have already won 600 races and everything you've done. And still the greatest thing is when you hosted Saturday Night Live. I don't care. That's a top, dude.
That's up for debate.
That's top. That's top for me. That's top for me, man. So when these two start, how did you embrace them? What was your role, and how did that did it change over time?
Yeah, and I'll take it back just a little bit, because where this started was a conversation that we're having with Rick about building a new race shop. And the debate that we were having was, is this a one-car shop or a two-car shop? Do we need to look at sort of what's happening around the sport? And we saw how the success of adding a third car to Hendrick Motorsports with the 24 team and sharing of information, and things were evolving. And so do we want to be a four-car team? And so Rick was kind of on the fence, and we were trying to design the building and lay it out. And as things are progressing, we were getting some heat of, we got to make a decision here. Is this a two-car shop or a one-car? And then, I had met Jimmie, and I don't know if I had mentioned to Rick that I met Jimmie. Yeah, no, I did, because Ricky and I were together. But then I went and I raced an Xfinity car at Michigan, and Jimmie and we connected at the drivers' meeting. And so immediately to me, after that day, this is our guy. So we decided to go with the four-car team and bring the 48 team together. And then, these guys were, I don't even think there was a list. It was just Jimmie was our guy and Chad's our guy. And I wanted to be a mentor. I was like, Jimmie and I became instant friends. Chad used to work on the 24 car. Rick's on board. So as this thing was evolving, I was just, excited to see it kind of take shape. And so, of course, Jimmie's first race, we were going for the championship in 2001, leading the race at Charlotte. And
I had one rule: don't crash the 24. And as I'm spinning backwards, backing it in the wall in the middle of turns 3 and 4, I just see the orange hood of your car.
I'm on the
like,
brakes.
I'm fired. I'm fired in my first race.
Well, how quickly things would change, because we go into his rookie year the next year, and I think he won like race 3 or 4 or something like that. But no, so the whole concept of this was, how does this elevate Hendrick Motorsports? How does this make all of us better? Selfishly, how does this make the 24 car better? And then these guys went on an absolute tear, right? And it was a lot of fun to watch. It was impressive to watch for a little bit. And then it just kept coming and coming and coming. And I think the other 3 teams, 24 had quite a bit of success up until then. Sort of like, you're supposed to share the other way a little bit every once in a while. How is this elevated all of us? But no, it really did elevate the whole organization. But guys, you forgot to share some of the love. So yeah, it definitely creates some challenges within the organization, but I could not be more proud of these 2 guys, to see what they've accomplished, see how far they've come, and to be a small part of it.
Did you ever think it was going to get close enough that you had to have milk and cookies with Jeff and these guys?
Yes. I think it happened at Martinsville.
Texas
Was probably
It was Texas.
Yeah.
Texas, where the button got pushed on the steering wheel accidentally. Martinsville was, we just owned Martinsville, the 2 of us, right? And I'm pretty sure at that time you were owning it a little bit more than I was, so I wanted a piece of it.
It was kind of bubbling along, and at Texas, I was convinced he went and ran into the back of me going into turn 3. And so as I moved up the track and then doored him down the front straightaway, it led to a series of events that followed that, starting with me watching the video, and I realized he was like a car length back, and I just lost the car. Oh, man, I've overreacted to this situation.
That's perfect. All right, we'll bring this thing to a close here. So for you 2 guys, I've never spoken to any kid, that went on to play professional sports and had success, that ever at a very young age said, all I want is to be in the Hall of Fame. You say you want to win races, you want to win championships, and I know that's where you guys started. I'm sure that's where. But tonight, as you look at these banners, you look around the room here, you guys are there. It's the Hall of Fame. What does it mean to you first, and then to you, Chad, to be mentioned and Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Jeff Gordon, and Donnie Allison, this goes in tonight with those guys? What does this mean to you?
It means everything. I mean, this is the highest honor that you can have in our sport, and I'm humbled by it, and really enjoying the night, and it's just surreal. I mean, it means the world.
Yeah, it's amazing, obviously, to be in this position, to be voted on by a group of your peers, to put you in a class like this is truly humbling. I think one of the things I'm proudest of is that I'm able to, quite honestly, sit up here with three of the guys that I probably care about the most in the world, and to have been able to be a part of their lives and them be a part of mine from the time that I was 20 years old when I started at Hendrick Motorsports till here I am today at 52. And to be able to go in here with one of my best friends is really special to me, with the support of all of you. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you, guys. I appreciate your time tonight. I know this is just, I told somebody the other day that like when you get an Amazon package, there's something inside of it, but you got to go through the popcorn to get to it. We're the popcorn. This was the popcorn right here. The package comes a little bit later. Thank you guys for doing this and being a part of it. I think you exemplify and are the perfect example, this group, Hendrick Motorsports, of what NASCAR is, what it can be, and what it should be. And that speaks volumes to you, Rick, and to you, Jeff, and your leadership now. So thank you, guys. Hope you all have enjoyed this. Getting to be a part of this. I know I love to be a part of this. We're going to take a short break now so you can stretch your legs. We'll come back to the main part of it. I'm going to have some milk and cookies up here with these guys, so just ignore us for a little while. But thank you, guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
That's the best part, man.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.